All right, today I want to talk about something that is a little more difficult and something that, might be a little tricky for me to talk through, but I'm going to do my best to do it. Yesterday, I went to a funeral for a friend of mine, and this was someone who, I was introduced through one of my best friends. We haven't spent a ton of time together. I wouldn't say we were super close friends. And it's been a couple years since I've seen him. But stayed in touch, watch his stuff on social media. Good guy. Someone who is not much older than me, 51 years old. And, I saw 3 people 3 days in a row pass away who were 51 years old, which is very strange. Only one of them was a friend of mine that I knew. But we went to the services yesterday. I went with my very good friend, and I just kind of want to talk through some of my observations, some of the things I learned, because I think there's always important messages from what's going on in life in general and what people are going through. And so the first thing I want to say is I could tell that he touched a lot of lives. There were a lot of people there in support. I know that there's so many more people who couldn't be there that would have liked to be there, but to see the amount of people that showed up for him was awesome. And as someone who thinks about, and I'm sure there's a piece of all of us when we go to something like this, especially if it's somebody close to our age who passes way too soon. You think about, hey, if something like this were to happen to me, who's going to show up? What's our impact on people that we have day to day? How many people do we have an impact on? So that was the first thing. I was touched by the amount of people that showed up for him. That was the first sign that that he had a really large impact on a lot of people around him, and there was a lot of love for him there. Number 2, I was extremely impressed with his 2 kids. He's got a boy and a girl, both probably high school age. Son's a little older, and both of them had an opportunity to get up and speak on their behalf. His daughter had a little bit tougher time with it, understandably, but it's super sad, but it's sweet to see the connection and see what the loss means to her, and then seeing her son, who got up and really had like a prepare, I don't know how prepared, but like something like a speech that was better than what I typically see most adults come up with. And for somebody who's probably junior, senior in high school, to lose your dad and someone you consider your best friend, and someone who's had such a major impact on your life, and to get up there and speak so with such a resonating message and with positivity and with so much love and respect, and just be super impressive about how he did it, and made it funny. Like, he was able to get people to laugh a little bit, and just think about some positive things and tell some really great stories about him and his dad. I was super impressed with that, and it just, again, is a reminder on like how much impact we want to have on our children. And I'll say this many times, most of this channel, a lot of this channel is a way for me to communicate with currently my 2 daughters. So Quinn and Shay, if you're listening, hello. For if something like that were to happen to me, in the future, I have these journal recordings to pass along so that you have and you can listen. Hopefully I can guide and teach you with a little bit of my own lessons and what I've learned throughout life. But I was blown away with that, and when I listen to it, it just makes me even want to be a better dad to my children, and really tried to spend time connecting, inspire them, and push them to do set big dreams and go for it. That's kind of what I got out of that, and it was awesome. One thing that was challenging was he had one of his longtime friends get up and speak first and talk about his life, and one of the things that we never figured out was what happened or how he passed. And when you listen to that message, there was it kind of seemed like it seemed like there was a potential that that our friend may had taken his own life, and I don't know that for sure, but that was what he kind of mentioned. That he's like, hey, I don't know why he wouldn't have reached out and asked for support. So he kind of there was some things that he said that kind of made us, being there with my buddy and talking about it, made us kind of think that was a possibility. And also, coming back and reiterating some of that similar messaging at the end, where it's like, hey, you really need to take the time and really connect with people, and we all are guilty of, hey, if you ever need anything, reach out to me. And his message was, that's not enough. And I get that. So hearing that made us think, hey, there was a possibility that our friend, who's got an amazing family, he's got a very loving wife, he's got 2 amazing kids, someone who, if you look at it on the surface, who had a very successful life and had a very successful business, and seemed to be very happy about stuff that was going on. And any time that we spent time with him, he was always happy, in a good mood, and just full of energy and joy. And you think about, like, look, we all have our own challenges. We all go through things. Again, that's part of the reason why I wanted to create this channel, was to kind of figure out my own stuff and be able to talk through it. And sometimes there's no better coach than yourself. And so I inspire people, or I want to encourage people. That's a better way to put this. I want to encourage people to maybe have these same conversations with yourself, whether or not you want to share them or not. That's up to you. But I do think sometimes being able to talk to yourself about it and really, like, listen and potentially listen back later on is helpful. Because there's just some things that just don't add up sometimes, or don't make sense. And then there's a lot of times that we're just going through our own demons internally that, like, can mess with you. And we all try to do a good job of, like, keeping that inside and not putting that out into the public, and not affecting our families or our friends, and having to go to them and say, hey man, I'm hurting, or I'm struggling, like, this is a struggle. And a lot of times we don't do that because it's like, we know that other people are struggling too, and it's like, why do I want to unload my internal challenges on friends or family who are going through their own struggles? And it's like, of course, we for anybody that we love, we all want them to be able to come to us and be like, hey, look, share Share what's going on. Share what's hurting inside of you right now, so that we can connect, and I can help you go through that, and I can share my story that might be similar to yours, and you might not feel as bad because we're going through the same thing, and we can understand it better together. So, but going back to what his good buddy said, as far as saying like, hey, it's not good enough for us to just like tell people, hey, if you ever need anything, reach out. So what do? Do you constantly, the challenge is you don't want to constantly worry about people. So, and you don't want to, I guess you can just send out more messages to friends and be like, hey, just thinking about you, hope all is well. I think that's, just thinking about it out loud is just like, just try to connect with, I don't know how many friends that we all have, and I can think of so many of my own friends that I just don't get a chance to see or talk to on a regular basis anymore. And it's like, I still consider them such good friends in my life and so close, but yet, you get involved with your families and life changes, and you just don't get to connect with people as much anymore. So it's like, hey, do we just take a little bit more time? Do I, thinking about it in my own personal situation, do I take more time to just, hey, send out some notes, say, hey, I'm thinking of you, hope all is well. And I like to think that I do that a little bit, maybe not as much as I should, but I try to. I actually did it last week with a few people, even before all this happened. But a lot to digest. A lot to digest. One of the other things yesterday that I thought, and this is where when we lose someone, we have to really figure out how to be better, and what sometimes happens in a positive is, and we talk about this all the time, weddings and funerals bring people together, and so yesterday when I went down and spent time with one of my best friends, it gave us a chance to hang out, and we hadn't seen each other since November, and lately, spending time together is 3-4 times a year. And so for us to be able to go down, connect, have a couple beers, and just talk about memories, and talk about our own struggles and what's going on, and some of our own challenges, and it's powerful. It's stuff that's like, we all just want to go have fun. We all just want to meet up with our friends and go have a good time and celebrate and party and just think about the good times, which we need to do. I think that's important, but I do think there is there's a massive amount of importance about talking about some of the things that you're just going through that you're having a tough time with, and we never want to be a burden on our friends. And like I was saying before, it's like we know that the people we love are going through their own challenges, and so it's like, hey, I don't want to put my stuff on you and vice versa, but sometimes it's just helpful to connect in a way to be like, hey, we're all going through something. Let's support each other. So, I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was really stood out to me yesterday. I think those between being inspired by the amount of people that he connected with and touched and wanted, and the amount of people that wanted to give their love back, that was huge. Seeing the kids was both massively sad and depressing, and also inspiring at the same time. And as someone who lost family early in life, I understand, and it's it sucks. It sucks, and it especially sucks, and I don't know what's worse, being if it was something that was accidental or deliberate, from that perspective, but like none of it of it feels good, and but you just want to send so much love to anybody who's going through that. So I've said a lot of prayers for the last week for his family. I've never met them personally, but from my point of view, they look like amazing people, and I just want to send so much love to them. So I'll leave it at that. I think there's a lot of good messages there. Something that again, I want to, it's part of the reason why I want to do this channel is let me kind of share my feelings, number one, with myself, allow this to be a lesson for my daughters, and then also hopefully have an impact on anybody who's going through it, who finds this randomly as well. So so I want to send lots of love to you, your families, all of your loved ones, and just know that there's a lot of people that love and care about you. There's a lot of people that want to make sure you're okay. And if you're struggling with wanting to be, or thinking that you might be a burden on someone else, maybe use the opposite. Maybe try to lift somebody else up. Maybe try to take that energy that you're having with, lift somebody else up, and that might give you a little bit more loving energy back. It's so weird how our minds work sometimes. So it's crazy. I'm still trying to figure it out. That's why I'm doing this stuff. That's why I'm talking to talking to myself and talking to my camera right now. But again, lots of love to everybody. Lots of love to all the families who've recently lost someone, including my friend's family and everybody else around. And just let's keep all trying to make a positive impact, put positivity into our lives, and make it better. Love you guys. Talk again soon.